Right, 20 August 2024. And today I'm going to be giving you my update for the day. And I want to cover quite a number of stories. There is a lot of business stories today and also a lot of stories from South Africa. I've been looking at the media in South Africa and a lot has been happening over there. So I want to start with what has happened in Zimbabwe. And this is a very embarrassing story that has happened yesterday around 10 a.m. So the Zimbabwe Republic Police has issued a statement, and this is with regards to the death of a senior police officer in Chitungwiza. And the senior police officer died at the house of his lover. So to me, it appears like this is a man-to-man situation. So I don't know if I've got this wrong or not, but it appears as if these are two guys. So the senior police officer, Francis Matsika, he died at the house of his lover. He was 57 years old. And this is trending in Harare. Yesterday, the whole day, this was a trending story as his body was removed from the house where he died. So I'm going to give you details of how he died. And as I said, this is a very embarrassing situation that has happened. So you can see the body being removed here by the police at the Chitungwiza house where he had died. And the reason why he died is because of the concoctions that guys drink in Harare. So if you scroll through Facebook reels, there's a lot of women who are giving concoctions to guys to say, if you want to be strong, you must mix this thing with that thing, and you'll be very strong. So he apparently came to this house with a pint of milk and some salt. And he drank the concoction. And then after some time, after the activities, he just gasped for air and died. So the point that I'm trying to make is do not follow the concoctions from those women that are online or on Facebook or on TikTok. And they tell you that you must mix this thing with that thing, and then you become very strong and you kill your system and all that. Those kind of things can kill you. They're not medical. So don't follow the instructions of some person that you don't know from YouTube. So he actually had a pint of milk, some cooking oil, and some salt. So that is Francis Matsika, the officer commanding Chitungwiza. He died yesterday at around 10 a.m. after visiting his lover, Blessing Zulu. Blessing Zulu then went to the police to report. And my understanding is that Blessing Zulu is a guy. So I don't know what kind of situation these guys had over there. So Matsika was 57 and Blessing Zulu is 45. So the young man survived, but the older man died. So let's see how that goes. Let's see how this story develops. But all I can say is avoid the concoctions that you get from Facebook. If you're having problems, mostly for guys, if you see yourself having problems, it's because of weight. If you're very heavy, you're going to have problems in bed. But and this is doctor, guys, so don't follow my advice. All I can tell you is if you work out and you get a six-pack, you never have those problems that cause you to drink some concoctions. Facebook. How can you get advice from a woman about how to become strong? That's crazy. So anyway, that is that. Let's move to South Africa. There's a lot of stories in South Africa, and I want to go through these stories, which are quite crazy. Let's start with Home Affairs. Home Affairs Centurion is in the news again. This Home Affairs was one of the best Home Affairs offices in the past. I did all my business at this Home Affairs. Like I got my kids, their birth certificates here and their IDs. This was where I used to go because it was quite close to my house. However, what has happened is that the Home Affairs here has been involved in a lot of corrupt activities recently, including the story which is trending right now. where a cleaner at the Home Affairs office at Centurion has been found with a stolen stamp, and it was discovered after she sold 2 birth certificates to some foreigners from Mozambique, and then one of the guys went to apply for an ID. Unfortunately, he took the birth certificate with a stamp that was stolen to the very person whose stamp was stolen. So the stamp was stolen in April 2023, and they used it all along up to when they were caught last week. And this is a 42-year-old cleaner at the Home Affairs in Centurion, and she's been arrested, but she was released on bail. That is Ranzo Chaoke. She is released on bail, and she implicated other Home Affairs officials at that office. And it's crazy because I had a run-in with these guys when I went the last time I applied for my son's ID. I went over there, and it was taking years and years to come out. I think it took 2 years. So I went over there to check why it was taking so long. And on arrival, I found out that when we said, I demanded to see the file. I said, let me see the file. What is happening with my son's file? So I went there, and then I went and saw the manager. He took out the file. And inside that file, there was nothing. Like all the documents were gone. There was no paperwork. There was the application that I had made was not there. So I obviously, in my usual fashion, I had to ask questions. What's going on? Why are there no papers here? I had a lot of fights with people. And only to find out that in the actual system, the application was not existing. So my biggest concern was that someone had applied for an ID using my son's documents. And that was a big fight. I had to start a new application. And lucky enough for me, this whole situation was resolved. But this used to be the best office of Home Affairs. Unfortunately, because of corruption essay, all Home Affairs offices are now a problem. And when South Africans complain about identity theft, they should actually be complaining about Home Affairs, because foreigners don't have access to steal identity. The identity theft is taking place right inside Home Affairs. And this thing is not good. Your IDs of your country must be something very secure. And unfortunately, this is the situation. It's very bad. In South Africa, identity theft has increased by 220% over the past 2 years. So from 2022 to now, identity theft is where someone is pretending to be you somewhere else, and you don't even know about it. And this is a bad situation in South Africa. So Home Affairs in Centurion, one of the best Home Affairs office, now the center of a serious investigation where people are, foreign people who are not supposed to have documents like IDs, are buying birth certificates and applying for IDs over there. So a massive investigation taking place over the Home Affairs office in Centurion. Then we got a big story, another big story. This is ABSA CEO, Arrie Rautenbach. I told you about this guy about 2 weeks ago. So there has been an agreement with the board that ABSA CEO, Arrie Rautenbach, is going to leave. He's going to leave on the 15th of October, and then he's going to go on 6 months garden leave. He is the 6th CEO the 5th CEO of ABSA since 2019, because they've been changing CEOs a lot. Remember, he had issues with the board and also with the executive management. So they've said that he must leave, and he's going to hand over to a new interim CEO, and that is Charles Russon from the 15th of October. And then they are going to start looking for their 7th CEO. So you can see that there's a lot of instability at the bank, and this is affecting their revenue over there. And talking of revenue, let's go to MTN. So MTN has reported their first loss ever. So MTN is 30 years old. It was created by the new government of South Africa. And I happened to work for MTN for 7 years. So over the past 7 or so years, before I left to do my own thing, I worked for MTN for 7 years. This is a great company, nice location over there in Johannesburg. But what has happened is that because of the issues with the Naira, that is the Nigerian currency, they have experienced their biggest loss ever. So they've declared a loss. They're no longer declaring a dividend. And this is because the Naira crashed. And at the same time, there's fighting in Sudan. So the Africa operations of MTN have caused them to have their first loss ever. And this is a massive problem in terms of going forward, what is going to happen with MTN. MTN is operating, I think it's Zambia. And if I'm not mistaken, they're also in Botswana. But they are very big in South Africa here. One of the best networks in terms of if you want to use your phone. The big problem in South Africa is the cheapest network to operate on if you're a consumer is telecom. You can buy data, but sometimes you can't use it in certain places. MTN has got the best network connectivity. If you are using their service, you're always connected. Unfortunately, this loss means a lot. It means there's a lot of changes that are going to take place over there. You remember there's also issues at Vodacom. Cell C was actually closed. They're sort of gone bankrupt. They've given part of their business to Vodacom and part of their business to MTN. And that leaves Telkom as the only company right now, the only profitable telecom company right now. Telecoms company in South Africa is Telkom out of the 4 operators that are operating in South Africa. This is crazy and unbelievable that we're in this situation in South Africa. But you must know that the management of these companies is very good. They've got a very good management, probably except for Cell C. Unfortunately, there are certain operating realities in the environment which causes them not to do well. Then I want to go to the Harare City Council before I go back to South Africa. So at the Harare City Council, Chisango appeared in front of the commission yesterday of the Harare City Council, and he has implicated some people in the CC. And this is crazy because I thought Juma Ulete was in the UK. So it has turned out that Juma Ulete and Ngoni Chimbalu, these guys were based in the diaspora. They're actually involved in some corrupt activities at the Harare City Council. And this has got nothing to do with Chamisa. These guys are not Chamisa people. They're just CC people who are based in the diaspora. So I don't know how Juma Ulete ended up at the Harare City Council as a board member of the Rufaro Marketing. Rufaro Marketing is the arm of Harare City Council, which runs the bars. And what Chisango is saying is that this unit of Harare City Council, which is very profitable, has about 130 bars across the city, beer halls or beer gardens. And the money from these 130 beer gardens is being collected by individuals, and he's not able to account for that money as the town clerk because these guys are politically connected. They just go there and take the money. And Juma Ulete, I hope that he answers what is happening here. We'll probably give him a call and see what is happening with the money that they're collecting. This must be a big problem because Chisango says he doesn't know what is happening. Chisango is currently in jail. I gave you a big story about it last week. So that is Hosea Chisango, the town clerk of Harare City Council, or Harare City. There's also the issue of Sunshine Meats, which has now been shut down. I think they said over 200 cattle are missing or something like that, and equipment on that Sunshine Meats, which is the meat business of the Harare City Council. The Harare City Council is looking like a big mess. A lot of interference taking place. And this is one of the things that need to be addressed in terms of fixing the city. I think I want to quickly look at Chizig. Chizig. What did I tell you about Chizig? Chizig is collapsing like a rock. It's crashing parabolically. And by December, it will be nothing. The Zig at high risk of facing doom. Cross also warns that the formal sector is in trouble. So by December, Chizig won't exist. This thing is the worst idea ever. It's a great destruction of value. Mnangagwa is one person who has destroyed value 2 times in less than 2 years. The ZIG has got no value, it's not money. No one wants it. No one believes it is money. And there's a lot of fake ZIG. When I tell you of fake ZIG, it's money that they're printing. They put it in the system, change it into dollars, delete the account, what we call banning. So a lot of fake ZIG is causing this thing to crash. And that is why they don't show you the physical ZIG. You're not going to see the physical ZIG because people at the Reserve Bank are involved in this thing. And that means politicians are involved in the fake ZIG. So the fake ZIG is crashing. Go check it out in the Daily News newspaper. This is crazy what is happening in Zimbabwe. Every year, people lose their pensions. Now, this time you're losing it twice. So last year, the dollar crashed. This year, the ZIG is going to crash to zero. So in 2 years, you've lost two currencies. It's unheard of what is happening right now. Then let's go to sport. Dynamos, they're currently in Botswana, and they're being hosted by Botswana-based Zimbabwean businessman, Mr. Tendani Sebeta. He's doing a great job. He's the owner of City Rollers. So he's hosting them and helping them to train over there. They won 1-0 to Zesco on Sunday, and they're going to travel directly from Botswana to Zambia. So they're not coming back to Zimbabwe to train in a stadium with no toilet. So that is the crazy situation taking place right now in Zimbabwe. The reason why you can't play soccer in Zimbabwe is because your stadiums don't have toilets. Can you believe it? And I've said companies like Econet, these guys are big. Why can't they find $200,000 and go to all the stadiums, get someone to build some toilets, fix the gates, and put some plastic seats and put their branding on these places? Our companies in Zimbabwe, they are not doing enough to assist. And our Coca-Cola, Delta Beverages, all those big companies that are there in Zimbabwe, Old Mutual, Ananyaranzo, these are the companies that are benefiting from advertising and soccer. All these platinum companies that have got soccer teams, why can't they come together and put together 20,000, build toilets, put gates so that people don't crash each other, and address the situation in terms of the soccer stadiums? Because now our guys have to go and play outside the country because we don't have toilets, which is crazy. So let me quickly look at the newspapers. Newsday is not published. Very rare. In my whole time, I've never seen a Newsday newspaper failing to publish in time. So I don't know if they've got a new editor there, but whoever is there for the first time has messed up. I've never seen Newsday not publishing at all. These guys, by 12 at night, by that time they would have published already. But today, for the first time, they haven't published. Now, I want to look at what is happening with the opposition leaders. So Mnangagwa is still saying he is the chairman of SADC, and everyone supports him. There is massive number of adverts in all these newspapers about Mnangagwa's chairmanship. But his biggest story is that he is being supported by all the opposition. So let me show you the story in the Chronicle newspaper. It's unbelievable that Mnangagwa thinks supported by the opposition. There's no proper opposition that supports Mnangagwa. No one in the opposition supports Mnangagwa except for someone who's desperate for cash. So that is opposition leaders endorse ED chairmanship, back ED SADC chairmanship. That is the story in the Chronicle newspaper. You can go check it out. And there is a lot that is happening. Police kill 2 Bulawayo armed robbers. That is a big story there. The shootout with the police yesterday in Bulawayo, 2 robbers in a bushy area. So when they say there was a shootout, it means they take you for indications and then they say walk. And then there's a shootout with you looking at the other side. You probably find bullets behind the guy's back. I'm not joking here. There is no way that anyone can fight Zimbabwe police. I spent a day with those guys in police vehicle theft squad. So we were going to Matopo. There was a car which was stolen, and I was with them for the whole day. I was not arrested at all. I was just a manager at the bank where a car was stolen. So we're looking for a car, and I was with the police guys. Those guys, they don't play. They can shoot out like crazy. Like you, the moment you see vehicle theft squad, especially the one that was in Bulawayo, you would be hiding. You will not be shooting out anything with the police in Zimbabwe. So there's no way that this guy had a shootout at all. It makes me laugh to think anyone thinks you can shoot out Zimbabwe police. Then I want to show you a tender. Very interesting tender. If you're in web development, the Zimbabwe Ezekiel Good University is looking for someone to build a website. So if you want to find this advert, go to gambaku.com or go to Zegu. This is a nice piece of work. If you were to get this would be amazing. And then I want to share with you a picture of Prince Dubeko Spanda with Monzora. So Prince Dubeko Spanda and myself, we spend a lot of time talking to each other. So I think there's no week that passes without me talking to Prince. Prince is a very nice guy. And my understanding is that if Prince was not pushing right now, there would be no Blue Movement, there would be no CC, there would be no leadership. I don't mean to say there's no leadership. There's guys like Ostalos, Chibaya, and Ramkomaji. So there's a lot of people who are working behind the scenes. But Prince Dubeko Spanda has done the most work for Chamisa. He has gone all over the country doing rallies. And this is one of the reasons why he's been arrested. And one thing that I've always said to Prince was that if I got arrested in Zimbabwe, I was afraid that people would just leave me and no one would answer my calls. So Prince, he knows what I'm talking about. The level of lack of structure on the legal side of CCC and Blue Movement is shocking. So when I call the lawyers, any lawyer in Zimbabwe, and I want something, it takes me days to get an answer. Most of the guys don't answer their phones, and when they answer, they can't give you a solution. And I hope that this is not the situation that has led Prince to rely on Monzora. Because the CC lacks a structure. They need a structure which will allow them to respond to problems. So when we're the situation with Pastor Tafmani Masai, one of the biggest problems we had was to get someone to do the letters for us, to take to Police Commissioner Matanga, and also for filling the forms which would submitted to Parliament for the Freedom of Information Act. There's a need to address the legal side of the CC. Because if this is not done, someone will end up rotting in jail. And this has happened in many cases. And I always talk to the guys and say, I'm so concerned that if something was to happen to me, I would die in jail. I always tell these guys, one of the reasons why these guys end up having so many problems is because they don't have a legal structure. And we ended up having to get help from guys like Agency Gumbo, who is quite responsive, but he's doing it at his own personal capacity. He's not getting paid for this thing. Agency also runs a company. Most of these guys are lawyers. Anna Prince, Agency, Ostalos, they're lawyers, these guys. But somehow they don't have a structure where when their own person falls into problems, they can address it. So this is something that they need to address. It's a very sad picture. When I look at this picture of Monzora with the Dubeko, it makes me sad to think now we have to rely for help either from Monzora or from Maduku. Those are the two guys who are responsive, which means one day you might see me standing with Maduku or with Monzora, because those are the only guys who will be able to answer your phone when you're in trouble. So it's crazy situation that is happening within the CC. Right, I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover today. We'll be back tonight. Tonight, I want to look at the military-led development strategy, 50-year strategy, how to reposition the Zimbabwe military. Yesterday, we looked at fast-speed rail or high-speed rail. So today, we want to look at the leg of how to reposition the Zimbabwe military for rapid economic development. Our country has stopped. Nothing's working. in our country, and people are still attacking Chamisa. It's crazy. It's unbelievable to me. How do you attack Chamisa when you can't attack Mnangagwa? I've never seen. So there's some people that I've never seen attacking Mnangagwa, but boom, every day if there's something about Chamisa, they start attacking Chamisa, and some of them have been helped by Chamisa so much. I don't even want to display some of the tweets here which are coming out. And what we then need to do is obviously to work on that structure. How do we create a country that doesn't depend on politics and the transitional authority, transitional system is the way to go? 50-year strategy, I'll be pushing that, and I'll be pushing that a lot. As I said, today I'll be looking at letters to the elders, panel of elders. Let's push some letters over there and see if they're going to respond. If they don't respond, we'll go to the next level, which is AU and UN. The UN has already issued a statement. They have called on Mnangagwa to release the 82 people that are still in jail right now. So Mnangagwa has got that statement from the United Nations to release the arrested people. Let's see if they appear to court in court today, and if we can see Namata Kukweza, Ana Bishop Nyamakanga, all these guys that have been arrested, we need to see them outside. Mnangagwa Arkurayavanu Nenzara. Mnangagwa is destroying our country. Mkoma Shadrack, Maduku standing with Zimbabwe. Maduku has never talked to me, but Monzora, I visited him at his hotel here in Johannesburg. So there was a time that Coupe came down. And what happened is that Pugeni and Jonas, they called me, and I went over to the hotel where they were staying. And when I arrived there was Monzora, and there was also Chief Charumbira, there was also all these guys. So I went and sat at a table where there was Coupe and Monzora. So that was my first time to see Monzora ever. What my impression on Monzora is this: Monzora is willing to go into arrangements with the ZANU-PF guys, especially on a political level, but I don't think he pushes them to get concessions. So that is my biggest worry about Monzora, that I don't think he pushes them for concessions. So the next day after that, I went to have breakfast at a local hotel. And so I was sitting there, I think that was Radisson Hotel, and I was having breakfast there with my family. And then who do I see in the hotel? I see Monzora, I see Charumbira, I see Barbara, and they're all having breakfast. So I'm like, okay, so how does this work? Because that means you guys had like a whole night in this same hotel. I don't know if that is how it works in Harare, where opposition members and members of ZANU, they just mingle. But that was the situation over there. So we went over and had a chat with Barbara, and that was that. But all I'm saying is the opposition right now, it's the way it is configured, very confusing. And we now need to look beyond politicians. We now need a structure, and the 50-year strategy is a way to start. Mngoma Tafa said there's no MTN here in Botswana. There's B-Mobile, Orange, and Mascom. Mascom belongs to Masiwa, or it used to belong to Masiwa. Yes, agreed. All I know is that when I'm in Zambia, my phone works from South Africa. Then what else here? What are the other comments? Juma, caption Apple. Okay, let's see the caption. It says, Zim police boss dies. Yes, Zim police boss, he died after spending quality time with his boyfriend. So I think that is a man-to-man situation. And this is Francis Matsika, 57, at a house in Chitungwiza. I've shown you the picture here. So he took a concoction of salts and milk, which was helping him with his certain situation or health condition, which did not allow him to function. So someone told him, Kuti, if you put salt in the milk, it's going to clean your system and you'll be able to function. And of course, it did work, but the end result was dangerous. He just collapsed afterwards and died. And as I was saying here, do not take those concussions. The best treatment for a man is to lose weight. If you've got a six-pack as a man, you become as strong as ever. You don't need all these concussions, and you mustn't eat sugars and spend the whole time sitting in front of the TV and stressing over cash and going to all sorts of different girls from the avenues. Yeah, that is the thing that is going to destroy your situation, and you have a situationship over there. Then you end up needing my concussions. So first, you must work out, you must run, stop eating strange food, stop meeting girls from the avenues. Then you're okay. You'll be fine. You won't have these situations. Especially the weight. If you see yourself with a six-pack, open up tight. You're gonna be in so much trouble. I think we've covered everything here. Let's be back here tonight. Let's play General Chwenga. Let's play General Chwenga. What did he say in India? General Chwenga is in India. Before I go, let me play what General Chwenga said over there. He's going to be addressing a 1-hour conference in New Delhi today. So let's see what he said.
For Zimbabwe, we are looking at a number of areas. As you are aware, we have been working with India in various economic areas, mainly in the energy and in the SMEs. We have been working with India quite, a lot. They were involved in our a lot of our power generation projects in the Wanke, and they are now coming into various other areas of economic interest in Zimbabwe. A 1-hour session where we will be showcasing our country, telling what we are doing in the areas like mining, agriculture, manufacturing, what we are expecting in tourism, and in all the various areas, including education, health. We are going to cover all those areas.
Right. So I want to just end here. I'm obviously going to talk about why I think India is not the place to go. I think Chwenga, they should be going to China for the trains, especially, but I'll talk about that maybe in a day or two. I'll go deeper into my thoughts on why Zimbabwe is not developing. And right now, these guys are not thinking outside the box. Their vision is quite limited. So let's see what Chwenga does. I'll play the video. If they produce the video of Chwenga speaking and all the business people in India, I'll show it to you guys. But I'm not convinced that this is the direction to go in terms of investment and in terms of rapid economic development. We need to continue talking about this topic, how to develop a country. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Let me go and work out. I've got a personal trainer now. So my target is to lose 20 kgs. So let's see if that is going to work out. I'm currently struggling with only 1 kg loss a month. I don't know what's happening. We'll deal with it. My personal trainer, this lady who offered to train me and give me some help with weight loss, she just disappeared. So now I have to do it by myself. But my personal trainer is very good. I've had a lot of muscle growth, but weight is good. So let's see how it goes. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching.